please take a moment to increase the brightness on your device for optimal viewing.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Sketchy Friendler, where every day I tell you a story and I draw you a picture to go along with it. Today I'm going to tell you guys about the time I had to save my daughter from the ocean. But before that, yes, I am using a blue pencil. Bear with me, I will get into a regular pencil. It's just part of what I do. And if this is too dark for too bright for you, then just crank the brightness all the way up on your viewing device so that you can see what I'm drawing. And then last, if you're watching this on your phone and it's just too small for you, then I would recommend that you just turn your phone horizontal and then the image will fill up the screen. And with that, let's do this. All right, so as I was saying, I had to save my daughter from the ocean. But there's of course, there's a little bit more to it than that. So last week, as most of you guys probably know, my family and I went to get downstate to get medical treatment for my daughter and also for myself. And we actually left a little bit early because of Hurricane Ian, so we could kind of get out of town here and go to where we needed to go without there being any issues. So we got down here, but one of the days that we were there, we decided that we were going to go after we went and to one of my daughter's cast removals. My wife just thought, hey, we're down near the beach. Let's go to the beach. And just to be clear, you guys, this is like on the other side of the state from where Ian really kind of wreaked all that havoc. So the weather was a lot nicer, calmer. There was no issues. It was like the opposite of what was going on over there. Florida is a very large state, if you didn't know. But that being said, we went to the beach. We were down in the area. My wife said, "Well, why don't we just go?" And it was that day. She had just gotten her leg serial casts removed, so it was like the first day she could actually walk. And just a little fill you guys in a bit. My daughter has a condition called arthrogryposis, and it's a condition where her joints are a little stiff, and she has lack of range of motion. So every year she gets serial casting, which is just a series of casts that help stretch out those joints that are affected and give her kind of back her range of motion. And because it is a condition that always kind of wants to regress back to the way it was when she was born, this has to go on every year, at least during the time that she's still growing, because every time she has a growth spurt, her joints will regress. So that said, we have to, every day she has to wear casts, but every year what we do is we bring her down to Paley Center, where she gets physical therapy and also gets serial casting so that she can regain any of the range of motion that she's lost through regression. So that was the first day that she was able to walk, because they took her out of the last set of casts that she was in. And that then my wife said, we'll go to the beach, because she can get out and walk, put her feet in the sand, and maybe step into the water too. And so I grew up in Northern California, so the water there is totally just it's freezing. Let's be honest. I mean, it's not like you're gonna get frozen in it, but it's like what 50 degrees maybe or less. So very definitely chilly. You if you the first time you put your foot in the water, you lose your breath because it's so cold that you you gasp for air. But here, this beach that I went to, this is the first time that I'd ever actually set foot in the Atlantic. Very first time. And this beach it was a warm day. It was about 80 degrees up. The water was 84 degrees, so it was really nice. And we were getting to a point where I think high tide was coming in, but it really wasn't. Um, it wasn't like a big like all the way up. And we decided we were going to go wade out. Put our feet in the water, and it was pretty nice, and not something I'm used to. I mean, I have been to Hawaii a number of times, so it's kind of reminiscent of that. And the water wasn't really like crazy. It wasn't like a crazy undertow that I'm used to back in California. It was actually quite calm. There's, there are people there hanging out, walking on the water, and it was just, it was like, just a regular day at the beach, and you could see where the waves had previously come to the shore because the water was wet in those areas. And we went out, we walked down to the water, and it was nice. And I stood her in front of me, and I held on to her, and it was nice. And we were just kind of standing there, and it's really calm. And then I saw a wave coming as we were facing it. And if anybody's seen my previous video about like when I was a kid getting knocked down and dragged under by the waves, I've learned my lesson. You don't turn your back on the ocean if you can help it. So we were both facing it. I had her in front of me. I was holding on to her with both my hands, and water came through, and it was a little bit bigger wave than the previous ones. And the thing about my daughter, she's because of her condition, it's really easy for her to get knocked down. And she, if she's like in a an area where there's lots of people, if somebody even just like lightly brushes up, past her, she could get knocked down. Um, and so she knows when she feels comfortable, and she'll let you know when she's not feeling comfortable or stable. And this little wave came, and it was a little bit more forceful than the others. And she was like, "Nope, I'm done. Let's get out of here." Um, she didn't want to be in the water anymore, so I was like, "Okay." So I picked her up in my arm, and we turned around, and that's when the bigger wave came. And it wasn't like some crazy wave that would have knocked me down, but it was enough to I had lifted her up so she didn't get soaked or anything. But I got splashed in my rear end with the water. And she saw it going surging past us because this was like a freak wave. Like it went way past where the other waves were, like way beyond it, so much so that we had our towels and shoes or sandals all like way up, like way up where we thought it was safe. And it surged past us, and it hit our towel got soaked. Shoes, so I had to grab had to grab the shoes once I got Anna safe to safety. And it was it was surprising, and it just was funny to me because there were some people who made comments on that video like, "Oh, looks like you guys aren't used to being in the ocean," and not the case at all. Again, born in San Francisco, grew up going to the beach, like even up to the very last point when I moved out to be with my family out here on the East Coast. I was taking one of my favorite dogs to the beach every week, so I am no stranger to the beach. So let's get that straight. I'm a little defensive about that. I know the beach. I know what it can do, um, and I respect it. Um, but this is just every once in a while, because I do know the beach. There are things called just kind of rogue waves, or just you get these waves that just don't act or behave like the other guys do. So that's what happened. We got splashed. I took the brunt of it because I was holding her. I picked her up kind of like a football, and I carried her. She's pretty lightweight, and so that's what I did. And um, we got her to safety. Got her, and she was fine. You watch the video, you can see she was pretty freaked out though, because like I said, if your reality is one where the slightest thing, slightest bump or nudge can knock you over. Imagine what it must be like, as a little person, and seeing this gigantic wave. Because for her, that wave probably would go up mid body. For me, it was just up to like my legs. But it was scary for her, and understandably so. And it was for me for a second, because I thought we just got pegged by something bigger, which could have happened. So thankfully that didn't happen. But we got her out of there, and everything was okay. But don't ever tell me that I'm not used to the ocean. getting defensive. I'm a California boy. I'm a Bay Area boy. I know my ocean and my waves, but this is just one of those times. Again, it's just a reminder. You got to respect the ocean, and I don't know. I just feel like it's just one of those things. You normally, under normal circumstances, I would have not had my back to the sea, but I was getting away from the sea. So the only way you could do that without walking backwards, which would have been silly, would be to, I don't know. But my point being, I wouldn't have normally had my back to the ocean, just for the fact that I was trying to get away from the ocean. You know what I'm talking about, right? Anyway, I think that's the only time I've ever really gotten defensive about any comment. People say things to me or say things about me, and I don't pay it much mind. I think what I took umbrage to is the fact that somebody assumed that I didn't know about the ocean. Like, maybe if I was in the desert and I did something stupid, that would make sense, because I didn't grow up in the desert, but I grew up with the ocean. I've spent hours in the water. Anyway, Anna's fine. She got a little wet. I got soaked, so I was the one who really got the worst of it. Thankfully, you don't have to worry about her. But it was a cool day. It was really nice. Other than that part, I mean, even afterwards, we just hung out on the beach. We got enough of the water, and I just played in the sand and collected seashells, and just pretty much just had a good old time. As did I. I just relaxed, listened to the waves, breathed into the sea air like I do when I go to the beach. It's a nice day. Actually, let me zoom out for you a little bit so you can see the whole picture, or most of it. There you go. There we go. All right. I think that should do it. I think that covers this installment of the Sketchy Friendler. I'm on Monday through Friday. I do these videos here on YouTube and Facebook. I also post the previous day's final image on Instagram and on TikTok. I do different short form videos that go about 2.5 minutes. They are different topics. If you don't have as much time, I'm also doing Inktober over there. So if you're interested in seeing what I'm doing for Inktober, then go on over to TikTok as well. And I would love it if you'd follow me on any or all of these platforms if you can find the time, or just to help a guy out. All right. I think that should do it for the day. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I will see you next time.